Shalom, holy initiates and holy adepts. I am the Chief Magician of Mystery Babylon, and I will be your Grandmaster and host for this very special Kabbalistic teaching. So, I first want to begin with a fitting exordium to this very esoteric, Kabbalistic, and magical system. So, for those of you that have seen my videos dealing with the Black Qabbalah and the Black Arts and the Sitra Achra. And I hope that if you are listening that you have seen these videos. If you haven't, you'll probably want to go and revisit and watch my videos dealing with holy initiation into the Sitra Achra and other videos dealing with the Black Arts. Now, just to briefly review some momentous points regarding the Sitra Achra and the Black Arts. So, as I've stated in other videos, as is taught in our ancient Kabbalistic texts, that the Grand Masters of Israel, even specifically the Sanhedrin, the Holy Sanhedrin of Israel, it was a prerequisite that one must have been fully initiated into the Sitra Achra, into the Luciferian mysteries, into Goetia and the Black Arts. Every single member of the Sanhedrin was fully well-versed in all of the Black Arts. Any one of them could have easily been the most powerful of Black magicians in the entire world, bar none. And I, the Chief Magician of Mystery Babylon, am also well-versed in the Black Arts and in Black Magikh. Now, it could be asked, well, given that you are the Chief Magician of Mystery Babylon, why aren't you doing so many videos on Magikh? Well, in all reality, this is a very foolish question. I would personally go as far as to say this is a really stupid question, right? We have to ask, is this what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants? Does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want the Chief Magician of Mystery Babylon to upload a bunch of videos teaching Magikh, both holy and Black Magikh? The answer is, of course, no, right? This holy channel is meant for holy initiation and the first stages of holy initiation. We have to understand that holy initiation into the Sitra Achra and into Black Magikh comes much, much, much later within holy initiation. It can come 20 years after holy initiation, right? It's something that's done toward the latter stages of holy initiation. So that's the last thing HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. I'm very close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Malchuth. They don't want this. They don't want that, right? It would be a travesty to have a bunch of videos on Magikh and have thousands of profane, impure retards come to my channel to watch these videos. This is not holy work. These are matters and initiatory rites that are done in private, in very, very, very private settings. And so that's why, you're not going to see really any videos on Magikh. Now, this video here will be an exception because it's meant to be a very advanced esoteric introduction into Goetia and the Black Arts. Now, as I've already stated, I'm very well versed in all of Magikh, whether it be Holy Magikh or Black Magikh. Now, I own many, many books on Magikh. Very, very, very ancient, powerful books on Magikh that only the most powerful magicians own. These are books that 99% of the global population has no idea of their existence, doesn't know their names, right? If you're a powerful magician, if you're an extremely highly initiated and very powerful magician, you already know the names of some of these books. You already possess some of these books. So I'm not going to reveal the names of these books, and I'm certainly not going to reveal or discuss in detail any of these very powerful magical rites. But if you should know, if you must know, yes, I am the chief magician of Mystery Babylon, and for very good reason, because I am very well versed in Magikh. Of course, that doesn't mean that I perform Magikh, because only a fool and a retard would perform a lot of Black Magikh, for that matter. Now, in this video, I'm going to introduce what is known as Astral and Planetary Magikh. And this is some of the highest and most powerful of Magikh. Now, the reason is because we have to understand, for those of you that have seen, if you haven't seen my videos, I have a mini series on astrology. It's a 2-part series. If you haven't seen, I highly recommend and suggest that you go see my mini series on astrology. Now, those that are initiated will understand that the luminaries, specifically the planets, are spiritual entities. And we may say that these spiritual entities are high-ranking archons that govern the construct at hand. And so when you begin working with these archons, which, by the way, is extremely prohibited by the Holy Torah, then you start to play a hand in the regality and rulership of this construct. And that's what makes this Magikh so powerful. Now, the basis for much of planetary and astral Magikh actually has to do with Magikh squares and very esoteric seals. Now, as I've already stated, holy initiation into the Luciferian mysteries and the Sitra Achra is very requisite to becoming a Grandmaster, right? Our oral Torah teaches that it is entirely permissible to become initiated into the black arts and to know the black arts, but it's not permissible to perform the black arts. Now, there's a lot of complex intricacies to these rules, these commandments, and I don't want to get into it here because there are exceptions, and these exceptions are only dealt with within the domain of the true Grandmasters. So it's very important to understand this, because initiates and adepts of the highest order at some point will begin their holy initiation into the Sitra Achra. And by having a mastery of the Luciferian mysteries and Black Magikh, it serves to increase your knowledge and your wisdom and your mastery of the holy domain of the kingdom of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, of the holy mysteries. This is what makes learning and mastering Black Magikh so powerful, right? In order to be a true Grandmaster, you have to master both domains. It goes without saying. Because there are levels where these two domains connect. So, let us begin. What you see before you is the magical square of the moon. So every planet has a Magikh square associated with it. And the one that you see before you is that which pertains to the moon. Now, we also have to understand, as I've already stated, that every planet is a spiritual entity in essence. And we also know from the Qabbalah that every planet is linked to a sphere, because there is a divine hierarchy here that we are dealing with. The moon is linked with Malkuth, and we know that the sublunar universe which we inhabit is entirely governed by the moon. And this is why lunar Magikh is some of the most powerful of Magikh. There's very ancient books discussing and revealing very, very powerful lunar Magikh. In fact, those that have read the Ramban, Nachman's commentary to the Torah, there is a section in his commentary to Sefer Devarim where he references certain names, and some of these books dealing with very, very powerful, very, very esoteric, magical books dealing with very powerful lunar Magikh. And there is a lot of arcana within this domain, which is far beyond the canon scope of this video. Now, as I've already stated, there is a Magikh square associated with every planet. Now, I'm going to reveal a bit of the dynamics behind this Magikh. Now, I'm going to omit the details and the specifics in regards to the rites and rituals. So, understand that for every handbreadth that I reveal, over 1,000 handbreadths are being concealed here, okay, for good reason. So, what are some of the things that can be accomplished through planetary Magikh? Okay. Some of the things that can be accomplished through planetary Magikh are: you can gain and amass a lot of wealth very instantaneously. You can use it to kill people. You can use it to gain favor among the elite, kings, princes, governors, etc. You can use it to have a woman fall in love with you and marry you. So these are all of the various uses of this planetary Magikh. Now, every planet has a domain of Magikh, meaning depending on what you want to accomplish, whether you want to kill somebody or destroy a locality or have a woman fall in love with you, depending on what you want to accomplish will relate to a particular planet, because you can only accomplish certain particulars through a particular planet. So as an example, Venus, which is associated with love in astrology, Venus is associated with sexuality and sexual reproduction and love. So that is the planet that would then have to be used for Magikh dealing with those matters, vis-a-vis having a woman or a man completely fall in love with you. Okay, so with that said, this will prove and demonstrate that some of the highest and most powerful Magikh is part of Astral and Planetary Magikh, right? You have to understand that some of these books are very, very, very esoteric. And then as I've already stated many times, the Jews, we have a monopoly on all of this. We own the most powerful books, bar none. And so then you wonder why you have certain Jews that are so wealthy and so powerful. And in a lot of cases, it has to do with the knowledge and wisdom of this Magikh, because they know it very well. They've been trained very well. And this is why we Jews, this is why we are the chosen ones. This is why we are the most powerful. This is why we rule the world. And this is why you do not want to fuck with some Jews. There are some Jews, such as myself, you Jews do not want to fuck with. You will be fucking mauled like a lion. You'll be slaughtered. It's no fucking joke here. This is really serious stuff. This is not a fucking joke. You don't play around with this stuff. Understand the warning. When the holy initiates and holy adepts open up some of these books, the first pages begin with extremely powerful, high-level warnings. Powerful warnings. You know, you're playing with nuclear bombs here. And if you don't know what you're doing, you will be destroyed. You will be on a first-class ticket to hell. Now, let's discuss what these rituals and rites include. As I've already stated, I'm going to omit a lot of the specifics. I will just reveal the generalities, which are: the Magikh with every planet involves obtaining a plate of a certain dimension, of certain dimensions. Depending on the planet, depending on the ritual, sometimes these plates must be made of gold, sometimes of lead, sometimes of tin. Depends on the ritual, depends on the planet. Now, the basis of the Magikh and of the ritual is engraving the magic square as you see it on the plate. And so this is why Magikh squares are so powerful. This is why they became so infamous and powerful throughout the Middle Ages among the Jews and among Islam, because for the past 1,000 years, it's Muslims and Jews that have been the most powerful magicians and the most well-versed in Magikh. I mean, that's a fact. And you have a bunch of Goyim from Christian Europe and other nations running circles around themselves because of their stupidity, retardation, and ignorance on these matters. So, that is the holistic core basis of the Magikh, is the engraving of the particular magic square on the plate, right? So if you were working with the moon, you would have to inscribe this Magikh square on the plate. Now, in certain rituals, you also have to engrave other images. Now, I'm not going to say what those other images are. Those that are well-versed will know. But in certain other rituals, it's not enough that you just engrave the Magikh square on the plate. There's other images that must be engraved with very precise, specific detail. In addition, sometimes even that's not enough, and there are certain very, very powerful rituals where, in addition to engraving the Magikh square and these other secret images, you also have to engrave certain planetary seals. So if you were performing a particular such ritual, say with the moon, you'd have to engrave on the front side. You would engrave this Magikh square, and then you would engrave an extremely esoteric planetary seal that's associated with the moon, and then on the back side you would engrave those other secret images that I have spoken of. Once you are done doing this, then you would offer up incense, a certain type of incense. Depending on the ritual, it can be frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, depends on the ritual. You would offer up certain incense, and in some cases, state a particular mantra. So this is the generalities of the Magikh here. I've omitted many specifics. Those that are powerful magicians that own these books will more than know and understand um, the entire holistic quintessence of all of this. Now, as I stated earlier, knowing and understanding all of this with the specifics and the particulars is extremely momentous in further increasing your understanding, knowledge, and wisdom of Holy Magikh. Because just as every planet has a Magikh square, so does every Sphera have a Magikh square. Now, the key difference between black magicians and holy magicians, such as myself, is the black magicians are working with these inferior magical squares dealing with the planets. The holy magicians are working with the magic squares dealing with the Spheroth. Now, what you see before you is the magic square of Malkuth, which is the last Sphera. Now, there's a lot of numerous complex and intricate properties to this Magikh square. And again, I don't have the full time and space to get into those complexities and intricacies because they're very esoteric and they're far beyond the kinescope of this video. But they are partially explained in certain books. And some of these properties represent mere images of the properties of the Sphera. So that when you're performing Holy Magikh with a particular Sphera, you would then employ this Magikh square, which involves very special secret holy meditations that utilize this Magikh square. These are very complex, intricate meditations that can only be performed with an extremely high-level understanding of the intricacies and complexities of these Magikh square, because the squares embedded within this Magikh square represent chambers that reside within Malkuth. And so the Magikh square then ends up becoming a holy map to the Sphera, so that when the holy magician spiritually ascends to the universe of Malkuth and will then traverse numerous gates and chambers of the Sphera of Malkuth. Now, I'm going to reveal one very, very powerful key here, right? But before I do, I want to reemphasize, when you understand the black arts, when you understand how to work with the planetary seals and Magikh squares, it helps immensely to know and understand the magic squares of the Spheroth, because they go hand in hand. And they're related to a certain extent. Now I'm going to reveal one very powerful esoteric key here. That's all I'm going to do, is just reveal one very powerful esoteric key. Now, these Magikh squares of the Spheroth, believe it or not, are related to the 231 gates. There are keys that connect the 231 gates with the Magikh squares, because these are both the highest, most powerful subsets of Holy Magikh. Now, unless you're a holy magician at my level or near my level, you can't even begin to fathom any of this, quite frankly or honestly. Now, you'll have to duly know, for the revelation of this holy secret key, that this Magikh square is 20 by 20, meaning that we end up with 400 chambers. So, duly note this. Now, when we head on over to the 231 gates, and what you see before you is the parts of the front side of Malkuth, you will see that the two Hebrew letters that designate the Partsuv of Malchuth in the 231 gates are the letters Kaf, Tav. Now, this is very momentous because Tav, which has a gematria of 400, is a square of Kaf, which has a gematria of 20. So we see embedded within the keys to the Partsuv of Malchuth the dimensions of its magic square, which is 20 by 20, Kaf by Kaf, which is Tav, chambers. And so this is the first powerful key in connecting the 231 gates to the magic squares. But I've revealed more than what I should. I've revealed way more than I probably should have of. So that ends this very short but very powerful advanced esoteric introduction into astral and planetary Magikh. Shalom. Weselah.